Disrupt or die. Our next speaker may be a firm believer in that adage as he focuses on his contribution on telcos working together to enhance digital innovation. Keno Cox, General Manager, Emerging Technologies and Innovation, TSTT, is our next speaker at CANTO 2021. He is the pioneer of the eTender Software as a Service, SaaS, diversifying TSTT's portfolio of product services by leading the innovation, concept development, and implementation of TSTT's first and only in-house created software as a service. The eTender B2B and B2C online marketplace presently utilized in major local and international entities in the banking, manufacturing, health, technology, and construction sectors. Keno, welcome to the CANTO 2021 screen.
Thank you, and welcome everyone, cyberspace, and it's my pleasure to present you today. I want to thank CANTO and the board of directors of CANTO and the collective audience. In interest of time, I will share briefly the agenda proposed for this morning. We'll go through really the journey on where telco, and we are telcos, part of CANTO, where we are today, the challenges that we all face, and the disruption that is coming our way. Some would say it's here, and how do we address the disruption that we see around us? For us, it's really partnerships for what we call prosperity, and ultimately a warm surprise for the audience at CANTO today. So it's really my pleasure, and I'll get straight into it. And for all of us, and contextually, some of us kept up at night with many different thoughts about what faces us today in the telco, and what do we have to look forward to, as you know, given all that's going on. Now, the pandemic has heightened all of our awareness when it comes to safety, security, jobs, and it's no different for telco, given that at the heart of it, we connect lives, we connect persons, we connect you to your families, we connect you to your loved ones. And for us, it's how do we, when the world around us and what we are seeing happening, be ready for the future, and the future is right now. We are seeing worldwide, and it's happening around us, and we've seen recently in the media what's happening with satellites that are now becoming low orbit, which very soon will be given internet to remote areas around the world. But what does it mean for telcos? What does it mean for us, and how we connect with customers, and how we provide services at a reduced cost and a reduced time to serve? Yeah. So in terms of the headwinds of change really are speaking to how do we as a telco understand that in the B2B markets, the B2C, you have what you call the changing dynamics of OTT players coming into the space, and they are now taking traditional spaces that as telcos we are accustomed to and driving change through there. So we have to be disruptive. We have to be very sensitive to how the world around us is changing and adapt to change. So when you look at the evolution of telco, the telco industry has morphed from 1876, roughly 140 years ago, to today. And you're seeing where change has been constant. And what is constant is that the telephone has remained looking the same, but the world around us has changed. It's really tremendous. And we look at 1991 to now, roughly 30 years ongoing, the telephone as we know it has moved on, but the world around us has kept, So in terms of the paradox that is facing us now, for a mobile company, revenue is stagnating. Revenue is on hold, and revenue is on hold, but data is taken off. So what it means is that you have a situation where traffic is growing exponentially for data, but revenue is falling at a very rapid rate for traditional lines of revenue. So for all of us, we have to now, be very cognizant of how do we, navigate the OTT players, navigate this traditional revenue falling, but grow in sectors which the customer demands and you don't. So it's what I refer to as the exponential sustainable organization. And we have seen it with Tesla in a major way. Tesla came from nowhere to now where they have one of the largest cap of many or all of the traditional what you call vehicle companies. And as you see on the graph to the left, some of the companies that make up $1 billion as a market cap, you see how quick it was for them to achieve that. And all these companies are what you call disruptive organizations. So the telco, we have to, and as all of us, we have to now ask and realign ourselves. How do we become disruptive and grow exponentially given all the heavens of changes around us? So that's going to walk us through some quick examples of companies that have impressed me and is a story for all of us to be able to look at. And Singtel is one of them. Singtel has converted and expanded their services into the B2C, offering voice on demand, TV streaming, and so forth. And the B2B space, they have acquired stakes in marketing, digital analytics, and so forth, even cybersecurity. So it speaks about how do you navigate and transform yourself from what you traditionally will to know and you don't. We have seen with Turkey, they have transitioned themselves again into what you call a local browser that gives more content, but more relevancy to customers. The messaging app called Life, it plays games, and so it's all about how do you connect with the customer in a real way, moving away from the traditional ways of how you engage and how you reach the customer daily basis. In Norway, Telenor has done some fantastic work, and they've grown last quarter or so, added subscribers at a rapid pace. Why? They're pushing the boundaries of 5G. So they're using 5G traditional from 4G to 5G, but going to fish farming, going into traffic management and so forth. So it's really how you use the existing architecture you have to re-engineer and come differently. So it all boils down to, and very tagline for today is, if we fail to evolve, what happens? If you don't evolve, if you don't innovate, you die. And it's not for us to wonder, but history is littered with companies who have not innovated. So for example, in Fortune 500, the last 15 years, you see many companies that we know on Nokia. My first mobile phone was a BlackBerry. Today, if not all of us in the room don't use BlackBerry again. So we understand where we've come from. Blockbusters on Netflix is a known story. When you look at the right-hand side, you see many traditional companies that market caps were the ones that led the industry, led the world, have now transitioned the last 10 or so years to more technology companies. We have changed the game rapidly, and we are moving exponentially. And these are some of the stories of success that you have seen, and it speaks to what we call the exponential growth. So where it took the airlines over 60 years to retain 15 million customers, and credit cards and television 20 years and going. Pokemon Go, Twitter, Facebook, those apps that launched within the last decade or so, you have seen how the transformation and growth. Now you have persons who are content providers on Twitter and TikTok who have 10, 50 million, 20 million users in no time at all. So it really speaks to how will we grow. And we have seen it with Facebook. From 2004, 2021, the whole interface, the usability, the connectivity has changed and transformed. So they have seen something over the past 2 decades of how you engineer. But you know what? Today, Facebook, are not standing still. They are evolving. Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, only this week has told his employees and the world that they're moving towards the metaverse, which in his eyes is really building the future around a set of connected apps. But you know what? It's very critical to understand this whole evolution that Facebook is seeing. They can't do it alone. So they admit, and even as big as they are, they need partners to realize this dream. It's our internet where you're viewing inside the internet. So there may be jokes around how that happens with the matrix and so forth, but the reality is no one was joking when 30 years ago or 40 years ago, the cell phone moved from where it was to where it is today. So if Facebook is saying that this is where they see the world very shortly, we must stand up and take notice and understand how do we as telcos evolve ourselves to be in this new world. Panasonic had exponential growth last quarter compared to last year. Why? They have moved away from low margin consumer products and focused on what car batteries. So they are a major provider for Tesla, which we saw earlier is one of the largest market capturing vehicles in the world. And you see it now, Mercedes-Benz and a few of the other major car companies are all saying by the next 5-10 years, all their car lines are going to be fully electronic. So Panasonic has seen that shift and made that shift and seen the profits already of understanding how do we disrupt ourselves, otherwise you will be disrupted. So very first, we have to understand that, as I said before, as telcos, we are responsible for the connectivity that power people's lives every single day. We touch every single person that some way, shape, or form. And it comes back to how do we, given that knowledge, adapt ourselves for what's to come. So I see us as a digital enabler. Telcos have to, on the left-hand side, understand that traditionally, you're a utility player, providing infrastructure, network backbone, backhaul services, interconnectivity between networks. That's what traditional means. But now we're an enabler. So on the right-hand side, we have to now transition to IoT, cybersecurity, analytics, fintech. All these are new areas that we have to be a player in. But the heart of it is enabling digital transformation. And that really is where we have to go. The question is how. So Peter Drucker said it very well, that results are gained by exploiting opportunities, not by solving problems. At B-Mobile, we live that story. We have a tagline called Just Believe. And we believe that West Indies always win when we go and play cricket. We also believe that we would have drawn Mexico, and we drew. And we believe that soon we would come back to normal. But really and truly, we also believe and be thankful for the opportunity to be disruptive and to do transformative things that we can share with the world one step at a time. So today, in closing, I will share with you a quick story of our disruption and how we have started navigating those waters to create what we call an exponential organization. So for us, that journey started roughly 10, 12 years ago, where we looked at the software as a service model. And instead of being a consumer software as a service, we decided to transition. And for context, software as a service is a roughly $150 billion industry projected by next year. So you see, of all the different as a service, it is one of the critical components. And on the left-hand side, you're seeing how drastically the revenues for telcos have been falling for traditional. So in one way, traditional falling, next, software as a service and other platforms like this are increasing. So for us, we decided to develop, using code, our own software as a service called eTender. And today, very proud that we have a solution that is not only serving companies locally, but internationally as well. And it's all part of our evolution to create what you call best-in-class services that could result in us being at the Gartner Quadrant, that could be among the best in the world. We have started, and we're very thankful for the award in 2019 for innovation. And we have built a brand and built an ecosystem that supports companies and governments in what you call best practice procurement on a major scale. So it's all part of our journey, all part of our ecosystem, and it's part of how we have seen transformation, and it's only one step of the journey. There are many steps we are taking now to align to this. But one is critical, and what I want to share with you, more in closing, is that you can't do it alone. The competitive markets now, you have to have partnerships. You have to have other like-minded companies and customers who believe in you to enter these new markets, to enter these new realms, and to create new opportunities. Facebook is not doing it alone. B-Mobile is not doing it alone, and I'm encouraging everyone to not do it alone. Look at partnerships. Look at other ways in which you can innovate together. So some key considerations, and of course, part of our journey, there were 3 major touch points that we live and continue to live as we go and as we go through our digital transformation journey. One is to reinvent the customer digital experience. The customer journey experience is critical to have a seamless customer experience, cross-channel integration, touch points. The customer must live and feel the presence of you every single day. Secondly is collaborating. We are proud today to be collaborating with CANTO. and of course, as part of the CANTO family with other telcos to provide similar services and use similar services as part of our ecosystem. And thirdly, but maybe most importantly, is ensuring that everyone, your existing infrastructure, existing talent, everyone is prepared for change. And the processes involve retraining, retooling, and encouraging everyone, because if you sit still, you die. So in closing, I really want to thank CANTO. I want to thank the team and the board of directors, particularly Teresa, for the tremendous support. And I want to share with you a very short surprise, which is simply saying that we are partnered with CANTO to launch what we call the e-tender, e-procurement marketplace. And without further ado, I'll present you a short clip which will talk about our partnership.
The big picture on sustainability is a question of how your business acquires and keeps its competitive edge. Welcome to CANTO's e-tender marketplace. That bigger picture has just gotten smaller. Leverage new business opportunities, connect with global networks of suppliers and contractors, radically monetize non-productive assets, and drive profit and savings. Fully loaded with business intelligence and dashboard visibility, CANTO's e-tender marketplace, advanced e-auction capabilities, and e-procurement tools will change the way your business gets done. With a click, disruption. The world has arrived. CANTO Marketplace, where your innovation meets opportunity.
And thank you, everyone. Enjoy the